sorry for inconveniences, technical inconveniences, but this is how it is if you're in a room from the 90s. This is supposed to be the room from the 90s. So the tea parties we started are actually a part of the EMI project and the EuroVision Lab exhibition. That is also why we are in this room today. So we tried with the EuroVision Lab and with the EMI project, which is a European project sponsored by Cultural Program. We are trying to do something different in the museums. I hope you can feel it, or at least you will be able to feel it today. And with these talks, we've joined together with another project, Dostupnost Accessibility, as our working member, and we will present a series of 3 museum tea parties where we will talk about museums and their social responsibility. So the difficulties they are facing, the changes they need to face because the society is changing, and so on. And today we're hosting guests from far and abroad. I would like to start to introduce you because you come from Austria. First we have Karl Stocker and Erika Thümmel. I have my footnotes because they are so busy. All of these our guests are so busy that I can't remember everything. So Karl Stocker, you are a historian and exhibition director, an author and editor, and head of Department Exhibition Design and Information Design at University of Applied Sciences in Graz, EuroVision, right?
Correct.
And you are also professor at Graz and Kassel University and lecturer also abroad in Krems and Arts Berlin and Yildiz Technical University in Istanbul. You are founder and director of Bizdato, Exhibition and Museum Design, and Director of Exhibition and member of Graz UNESCO City of Design Board. And then we have Erika Thümmel, restoration specialist, and you worked in Florence, Vienna, Italy, and New York City. You've established your own studio in Graz, and besides that, designing quite special furniture and numerous art installations, and also designing many exhibitions in the sphere of cultural history, art, and all over the world. You're a teacher in information and exhibition design, degree courses at EuroVision, so colleague of Karl Stocker, in Graz as well. And now I would like to skip to our more local guests, I'll start with Boštjan Botas Kenda, a Dean of Academy of Fine Arts at University of Ljubljana and a professor at that academy, also developer of visual messages, organizer of professional workshops and exhibitions. You worked as a freelance graphic designer and educator, but then you somehow, after changing quite a lot of faculties, you've settled in Aluo, so where you are now. And you are also, you founded Studio Botas, a bureau that deals with communication and graphic design activities. And you've, of course, received a lot of international and national awards in this field.
Correct.
Yeah. And now I would like to introduce actually a guest that has a 2-parted role, so a guest and a host at the same time, because Kaja Širok is a director of this museum, National Museum of Contemporary History, also a historian, a researcher, a translator, and assistant professor of cultural history at the University of Nova Gorica. Also for a while you were a professor at Faculty of Design. And for me, the most unusual and most interesting thing is that you are the owner of the title Knight of the Order of the Italian Star that you received for your credits and work in intercultural cooperation between Italy and Slovenia. So this is who we have tonight.
Give me a horse.
So not without a horse. And I would really like to encourage you to ask questions. I will ask a lot of questions, but of course you are really, really invited because we would like to make it as much as dialogue as possible. Thank you. So, Karl, you would like to start first, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Thank you for the nice introduction and for the invitation.
Okay.
Yes, you told that we work with the UNESCO City of Design.
Yes.
And UNESCO City of Design, Graz, is one reason that I could do this presentation, because we are in a network with last time 11 cities, now 16 cities all over the world, and so I could do a lot of traveling. And of course, because of my contemporary profession, that I run a master degree exhibition design, I have to go into museums. I really have to go because I don't like so much to go in museums anymore, because I think they're so boring, yeah? Yeah, really. And what I show you now is a little trip through the globus, yeah? And I hope you can see something. Let's see.
You can come
Yeah.
closer.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we, from the last row, come here, because it's, yeah. Because, you know, we didn't check that we should talk, but I think if we speak about exhibitions, you should see photos, yeah, or pictures, yeah. Okay, let's start. I gave this title, Exhibitions Are Not Dead, They Just Smell Funny. I stole this title from Frank Zappa, yeah. Frank Zappa was a musician, and a very cynical one, yeah. He died some years ago, but what he said it about jazz, yeah. He said jazz is not dead, but it smells funny. And he had also his sympathy with the jazz. Like I have my sympathy with the exhibitions too, even if I say I hate to go in exhibitions, yeah? And that's what I'm talking now. What I do in the first time is I want to focus four contemporary trends, which I think I found all over the world, yeah? In the second part, I would like to think about why these trends, yeah, really exist. And in the third part, I want to show you some small projects which maybe could be another go in a different direction, as usually exhibitions and museums do. Yeah? So the first, what I see is that exhibition design is something about surface. Yeah? Yeah? And what I mean is that, of course you cannot see that, but I can talk about it. Exhibitions are more important as an event. Yeah? They are not important as an exhibition itself. The most important is the opening of the exhibition, because you have some politicians and they talk about the exhibition, that they funded it and that it's nice to be here and welcome and please vote me at the next election. But nobody cares about the exhibition. It's just an event and spectacle. Like here, some of you know this. This is from Zaha Hadid. It's 4 years old. It's the. Is it okay? The last row you see? Mm-hmm. Yeah? It's the transportation, the Riverside Transportation Museum in Glasgow, in Great Britain, and it's, you see, from the architecture is well done. But nobody cares what's inside, yeah, you know. Or this example, I like very much, is a very good architecture from Shanghai, 2010 at the Expo. Also the British pavilion from Hedderwick Studio. And yeah, so my resume here is that we speak about big houses, about big architecture, and of course about big money. Yeah? Do you know this maybe? This is not Bilbao. Yeah? This joke, it always works, because this looks like Bilbao, but it's Los Angeles. And it's also from Gire, but usually this building would open first, yeah? But then they had troubles with money, because this is the Disney Music Hall in Los Angeles, and so Bilbao was first, and that's the reason why you can see Bilbao, Guggenheim in James Bond movie, and not this one. Yeah. So yeah, okay. But Gire, of course, is very famous. Do you know this? It's my hometown. Yeah, we like also. And the funny thing with this museum is, all the Graz people like it from outside, but nobody goes in. Yeah, we shall talk about why nobody will do it. Yeah. Yeah. What I say, it's for these big buildings, you have to have money, And this affects slick surfaces, brushed steel and glass. This is the architecture and the material from which museums are built, big museums are built today. This is Toronto. It's Rome, the Royal Ontario Museum. It's built by Daniel Liebeskind. Yeah, so you see, it's all big architects are involved in those projects. It's very important. And the resume of this first part: take no risk, yeah, in terms of content and design. Yeah, you take the famous one, and you, yeah, everybody will say, beautiful, nice, you've done a good job. Yeah, okay. So first, and also with this, maybe somebody of you was in Marseille. This is the so-called Mukem Museum of Mediterranean at European civilizations, and it looks beautiful. Yeah, but if you go inside, it's a very conservative. Yeah, you see, they have also a lot of money to build it, but yeah, big screen, vitrine like all time. Yeah. Okay, so first finished. Second, exhibitions. They are more for promoting products. They are not to show history. They are for promoting products. Yeah. So, as you know, in our time, it's really important that you have a branding of objects with design and with a scenography. Yeah? This I like very much because this is the Rote Platz, the red place in Moscow. Just 100 meters, it's the Kremlin, and where Lenin is lying in the ground. Yeah? And here you can see the presentation of the new Land Rover. Yeah, yeah, it's okay. And this is Detroit. Yeah, Detroit car show. So what's more important, the car or the girl, beautiful girl? Yeah. So yeah, this is exhibition design, is scenography. Or this is, maybe some of you know, it's from a very big. This is BMW WMY in Munich, and here it's so-called WMY World, and I think it's designed by Atelier Brückner, which you work in the project together. Yeah, yeah. Inside. Yeah. And yeah, Museum of Companies are magnets for visitors. This is the Porsche Museum. Yeah. It's done by Austrian architects Delugan. Yes. Yeah? Yeah. And this is inside, is done by the concurrents, HG Merz. Yeah? And yeah, if you're watching these pictures, you don't know, is this a museum? Is this a fair? Or is this a shopping mall? Yeah? And what I think, this is really good exhibition design, scenography. But this is a sushi shop in Las Vegas. Yeah, so you don't know which is, what is better. Or I like very much Camper in New York City, one of the Camper shops. They have a very good design, very smart, cheap, but it works very well. Yeah, so what you can see is that you have all the same strategies of communication and expositions in those three parts of designing exhibitions. Here it's the last picture. It's a big shopping mall near the Red Place in Moscow, and this is the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto. So you just have to change the objects. Huh? You can do it in any space, in any of these spaces. Okay, third, exhibitions getting more virtual. Like I would say 15 years ago with the digital, we had a lot of problems. Yeah? If we used it in projects, it was always a problem because the screens did not work, the computers didn't work, and every half hour something was bad happening. But now they're really perfect, and it's more that it's get usual. Yeah, it's really get usual to use it. This is a very nice scenography from the Expo in Shanghai, the Austrian pavilion. They made an installation where I can shoot snowballs. Yeah? Of course, this is nice. It's not very deep impact what the Austrian people are, but snowball, yeah, it's nice. Yeah? Because even with the climate change, we don't have it snow anymore in Austria, but in the virtual world, you will have it still. Yeah, this is also a photo from this. You see, they have really a lot of fun. Yeah, the last one. Yeah, we go into immersive worlds of experience. They tell us immersive. Like here in Tokyo, it's a very interesting interactive globus. Or here, this is the Natural Museum in Berlin. This is the link to the internet, normally, yeah.
Can we upload this later?
Yeah, sure, yeah. And
so
it's a link.
Have access to it.
You can see these old skeletts, yeah, these old dinosaurs. And the visitor can look in this telescope. And in the telescope you see a video when you're watching the dinosaurs. And then the dinosaurs, the skeleton is filled with flesh and with skin, and they run away and they eat another animal. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But well done. And these are like really very much, because we did an excursion with our students to Las Vegas 3-4 years ago, and when we came there I thought, I don't like Las Vegas, it's a big deal. But then I was really impressed, because this is the Italian pavilion, as you can see. And we were there with a colleague, and we said, okay, we see now 10 hours running around. Let's take a glass of red wine and stay in Italy, yeah? Drinking Chianti. Yeah? Yeah? Okay, and we sit there, was really nice, and after 10 minutes it started to be dark, more dark, and we thought, did we get drunk from just 2 nips there? And then we checked that they do a simulation of a whole day, 24 hours, in 1 hour. So if you stay there, you see, okay, it's now night, then it starts to be day, and in 1 hour you see everything. Very good light installation, yeah? We really were impressed, and this is virtual world in a very interesting way, I would say. And the fourth, and now we conquered the museums, exhibition making use of leftovers, yeah? And I start with a very sad story now, because I say the museum is a place to collect and manage dead objects, yeah? And you see this guy? It's a mandrill, yeah? Have anybody of you been in the Graz Joanneum? In the new exhibition about natural history? Here, this poor monkey is located. And you can ask, why does this animal, yeah, which has absolutely nothing to do with Styria, my country, why is it in the Natural Museum here? And then the director told me a very sad story. This monkey, he was born in a zoo in Austria, and it's the Zoo Herberstein. It's also was in the context of Universal Museum Joanneum, and this guy was too big, you know, because he was not born free. He just was in a cave, and they gave him a lot to eat, but he didn't get the love he needed. And so this guy started to be deviant. He was fighting with his other monkeys, and he was so big, and all the other monkeys were afraid about him. And then they called the director, Wolfgang Muric, and said, hey, Wolfgang, do you need a monkey for the new museum? And he said, yeah, why not? And then they killed this poor monkey, yeah? and stuffed him, and now he's in the museum. Yeah? Nobody knows this story, of course, because Wolfgang explained it to me. Yeah? Of course, I tell it here, because it's the real story of museums. You kill people and then put it here. Yeah? That material. Okay. And next is that a museum is not a place, or exhibition is not a place where you have to argue conflicts, yeah? Because in a museum you should be in a very nice mood, no problems, please, yeah? It's just cool, yeah? And like this, yeah? This is the new so-called Joanneums quarter in Graz. Yeah, it's clean. Yeah, it's clean. No people there, yeah? Yeah, but it's clean, it's okay. And for the next 20 years there will be no development here, yeah? Because it's stable. And I say the museum now is a place where the curators wanted to produce sense, even if there no sense exists anymore in our postmodern world, yeah? Like you see here, this is also the Natural Museum. You see here it's a guide who wants to communicate with the audience. But you know, my student, he don't want to speak. He just watch the object, and he don't want to get in interactivity with the personnel of the museum. Yeah? They're not interested anymore. So these four trends I saw, and I think they are really exists. And I asked me afterwards how to interpret this. Yeah? Why is the museum like this? And I think, and the question is, why are exhibitions the way they are? And I say, the first is that they are normally an isolated system. Yeah? I don't know many exhibitions which really show courage. Yeah? Because normally they are official, yeah? And they take no risks, yeah? And what I think it's like a vicious cycle of angst-ridden practices, yeah? The curator, he takes no risk because his contract is finishing and he wants to apply new again, yeah? He wants to be taken from the politicians, yeah? And in the last years we had also new restraints like financial and political issues, yeah? It's really important. And of course, and I don't know if it's here in Slovenia the same like in Austria or in other parts of the world, that if there's an opening, exhibition is just for an elite, yeah? In Graz for some bourgeois elite, maybe 100, 200, 100 people go to an opening. Yeah? And what we really can see is the so-called unwanted visitor. Yeah? Only registered visitors are welcome because they have to count the people. But you know, in Kunstmuseum in Graz, sometimes it happened that the people go there with children, and they told them, why you go here? Why you go in the art museum? Go to Kindermuseum. Yeah? It's not a place for children. Yeah? And the funny thing is that those people are the curators and the politicians. They're traveling around the world, and so they can see a lot. But what do they do? Like in Graz, they do, I say, the Joanneums quarter is like the Louvre, but turned down. Yeah? And of course in a smaller version, because they act locally. Even they are around at the globus, but they act locally. Yeah? And okay, I hope I offend nobody. Hopelessly overwhelmed cowards. Yeah? Okay. So, what can we do? Because I don't want to leave you pessimistic. I'm an optimistic person. So, the first is to crack the isolated system of the museums. For example, the human resource policy. Yeah? It's really important that you crack this. In Austria, we really can see it in that way because they like to take again always the same people. Yeah? They don't want to have new ones. Yeah? because no risk, also for the politicians. I think that the ideas and programs should be evaluated and adapted permanently. It's like in our job, yeah, time is running and you have to check what's going on. And the museum, I think, should be a place for public, scientific and political dialogue. Maybe it's here, because I just came in and we thought there's something like, maybe for a museum there are strange things going on in your museum here. Wow. Okay. And it should be a place for experiments. Yeah? Experiment, taking risk. Yeah? Sometimes, yeah, you not succeed, but you have to take the risk. You have to choose the experiment. So, and now I have 4 examples for you from projects I like. Of course, this is a very subjective view. And the first one is a project in Istanbul from 2009, the Jewish synagogue Istanbul, called Molecular. Maybe one of you have seen it. It was in the culture capital of Istanbul, 2009. And here you can see Erika and 2 guys, and this is the venue. Yeah, this is a. With a taxi, we really had problem to go there, yeah, because it's not one of the famous quarters. And here you can see you get in, and in this venue you have two people working like a craftsman. Yeah? This one is doing with metal and the other one with gum. Very specialist craftsmen, and they work here like maybe in 1900. Yeah? It's really very rough. You can see here. This is the guy with a gun. They were very sympathetic. They it's their working environment. Yeah? And then there's this project is done by the artist Serge Spitzer. Maybe you know him. He died 2 years ago. It's a famous artist from New York City, from Manhattan. But he died 2 years ago, and he did some art projects in Austria. And in these projects, he was looking for the roots of the Jewish community, and he found this old synagogue. It's the eldest synagogue of Istanbul, and what he did, he just took from Venice, because at that time, Venice took a lot of richdom from Istanbul, and he brought back like,
with the crusades.
Yeah, and brought it back to the origin, and it's really, it was like a sense, emotional sensation to stay there, and you just had this material here, and the light came only from the roof, yeah, and it was a wild environment, really very poetic project, yeah. And what you see here is what I like in exhibitions. If I go in a venue and what I see, I wouldn't expect it. This is what I really like. Yeah, if something is happened which I wouldn't have expected, wouldn't have expected. The second is the Museum of Modern Art in Berlin. Not in New York, but in Berlin. It's a project started in 2003. Here is the entry to the museum. Yeah? And here you can see the museum. And this is a guy from Serbia. Yeah, here. And this is my wife. Yeah? We were invited to watch the MoMA. And this guy, he just built a model of the MoMA in New York, and he painted all the famous paintings 1 to 10. Yeah? Yeah, you can see here. Yeah, you see the paintings, and he can speak 4 hours. He can tell you everything about the paintings, about the MoMA, but it's a model, and you really think, are you in the wrong movie? You will go there, and he shows you his MoMA, but I think it's a really interesting idea, and yeah, it's fun. you get a lot of information. You can't stop this guy. You have to tell him before. I have to leave after 1 hour because he will never let you go. Yeah? But super, fantastic. It's in the Frankfurter Allee. Hello? Yeah, okay. So this was my second project. And the third one, it's called the Museum of Jurassic Technology in Los Angeles. This is also a very funny project. It's just in a quarter in LA, and it's done by maybe 15, 20, 25 people. They got no funding, and what they do, I would say, they work on a Wunderkammer. You know this? Yeah.
Relates to this.
Yeah. And you know, they produce the objects by themselves. They tell you stories which are not real, but which is fantasy, yeah. And it's a very nice aesthetics, and you really get a lot of ideas, and you start to think, yeah, this is really very nice. Yeah, and the last project is from Babel Althammer, The Neighbors. It was an exhibition in the new modern art museum in New York. And this is, in the first floor, it was his own exhibition of his objects. In the ground floor, you could see projects which he did in workshops with audience. They created own sculptures, a little bit pop cultural, I would say. And in the last floor, there was like a painting happening. You could go there and take a coat, a white coat, and get pencil, and the people really were freaking out. This was really in the activity, and you could see here, you take a coat and then start working. A really nice project. People are like, a new world is starting up for them. Yeah, so I'm at the conclusions. I think that visitors should leave exhibition not more knowing, but smarter. Yeah, this is from Walter Benjamin in the 30s. And he thinks that museum should not be another kind of school, but something like, to deal with, to work with, to have fun, to discuss like that. The second is that I think this challenge can be overcome by elaborating interesting and exceptional thematic questions and approaches. So I think this is the really important, that you need to ask questions, and new questions, not always the same questions. The third is that this challenge can by attaching new contextualizations to present its stories and exhibits, but I think this is also should be common museum practice. Then this challenge can be overcome by consulting and integrating teams and methods of various disciplines, not only art history. And last but not least, by the way, exhibition excel in humor and irony, because normally museums are really like, don't laugh, it's not funny art, and history is also not funny. I think this is really important, an ironic way to work with. And maybe exhibitions should visit the people. It's also a possibility, like this in Moscow. It's a design museum in a bus. And this bus just goes around in Moscow and visiting the people. And it's a good success.